let me tell you a story. I've got this friend, Kristen. She and I went to college together, and believe it or not, she met her husband-to-be during the orientation week there. They were that couple that everyone envied. Spent all their time together, never had an argument. They had the same major, similar interests. They even liked each other's families. So predictably, soon after graduation, they got married. They have 2 sweet kids, a boy and a girl. Michael works at a local bank, and Kristen takes care of the kids. And last year, they got divorced. So how did that happen? Didn't they do everything by the book? If they searched for a partner through a matching company, they would have been a perfect match for each other. A bit about myself. I'm Dr. Karin Sternberg. I'm a psychologist and researcher with a passion for translating research into practice to help people create happier lives. And the story of Kristen and Michael isn't so unique. In the United States, almost every other marriage gets divorced at some point. And the stats are worse for second and third marriages. So what are we missing when we think about people being a good match for each other? What is it we're not seeing? Part of the problem is that we don't know ourselves that well. And sometimes not knowing ourselves gets in the way of a successful relationship. In our research, we found that every one of you has a set of love stories that is a set of ideas, beliefs, and preconceptions about what a relationship should be like. But you're likely not aware of those love stories. Your love stories develop over your lifetime. You observe the relationship of your parents, of friends and neighbors. You create your own relationships. And you learn about relationships in books, on TV, and in the movies. And so in time, you create this idea of what love is. Your very own love stories. And then set out to make them come true. Your love stories influence just about everything when it comes to relationships. What kind of partner you're looking for, your expectations, your behavior, how you interpret your partner's behavior, your dreams and hopes. And you likely have not only one love story, but several. And different partners may bring out different love stories in you. So what was the role of love stories in the relationship of Kristen and Michael? Kristen had a business story. She saw Michael in the role of the financial provider. And her task was to take care of the kids and the household. She went shopping, cooked elaborate meals, organized the family's social life. Michael had a fairy tale story. He wanted for Kristen to be his princess. He wanted to protect her and take care of her. And he wanted lots of romance and passion in their lives. And now there's nothing wrong with Kristen's business story, just as there's nothing wrong with Michael's fairy tale story. But issues may arise when your story is not a good match to the story of your partner. And such was the case with Kristen and Michael. Kristen got annoyed when Michael brought up all those romantic activities time and time again. She was exhausted, and she felt like he didn't appreciate all the hard work she put in to keep the household running. Michael, on the other hand, felt that they had lost the relationship they once had, and that there wasn't much that connected them anymore. Because when you have mismatched stories as a couple, it's like you don't really agree on where you're going and how to get there. And worst of all, you don't even consciously know that you disagree. Because like most of us, Kristen and Michael weren't aware of their love stories. But your love stories do more than just filter and tint all your perceptions when it comes to relationships. Your love stories also give rise to feelings, namely of intimacy, passion, and commitment. Intimacy is experienced when you share your feelings and thoughts with your partner and feel like you have a deep friendship. Passion isn't only sexual, but also when you adore your partner and can't stop thinking about them. And commitment occurs when you decide or do not decide to stay together for the long term. So let's have a look at Michael's feelings. Michael had a fairy tale story. He wanted quite a bit of intimacy in their lives, but he also wanted lots of passion and commitment. Kristen, with her business story, also wanted some intimacy in their relationship. But passion was not really important to her, and neither was commitment. So when you look at the feelings they have and wanted to have, you'll see that there was a mismatch, even though they were a perfect match with respect to so many other variables that we can traditionally consider important. So what can you learn from Kristen and Michael's story? What can you do better than they did? You can identify your love stories and your feelings and needs that arise from them, because that enables you to find a great partner, to identify issues when things go wrong, and to create relationships that are happy and that outlive challenging times. So how do you do that? I'm going to teach you. So first thing, identify your own love stories. Think about the following. What are some characteristics of relationships that you admire or try to live up to? What have you learned from the relationship of your parents, in a positive or negative way? And when you think about your own current or past relationships, which events stand out? Now, don't get stuck on the events, but think about their deeper meaning. Did you want to take care of someone? Did you want to provide for someone or sacrifice yourself? Were you afraid to be left alone? And I realize it can be hard to identify our love stories. So here's some guidance. In our research, we have identified the 26 most common love stories. And we've divided them up into 5 groups. Now maybe your love story fits into one of these groups. One group of stories is defined by a theme of working together or actively working on the relationship. Kristen's business story fell into this category. Another group of stories is defined by power plays, where you have a power differential between yourself and your partner. A third group of stories has a theme of saving the other or being dependent on the partner. In object stories, you view your partner with some detachment and value them for a certain characteristic, such as their beauty. And in narrative stories, you try to live out some kind of a story, like Michael did with his fairy tale story. Now, how do you know if your stories are a good match or a mismatch? That, my friends, is relatively easy to tell because the main symptom of mismatched stories is miscommunication. So think about the following. Do you talk with your partner, but you feel like you don't connect? Do you talk and you feel like you're getting nowhere? Does it happen to you that you say one thing, but your partner hears another? If that happens to you frequently, your stories may be a mismatch. If so, try and see if one or both of you can change your story to some extent so you can find common ground. Can you create a story that's appealing to both of you? Feelings and needs that arise from your love stories identify what's important to you in terms of intimacy, passion, and commitment. Take a scale from 1 to 10 and think about the following. For intimacy, how important is an emotional connection to you? That you take care of your partner and feel mutual affection. For passion, how important is romance to you? That you idealize each other and constantly think about each other. And for commitment, how important is it that you dedicate your lives to each other, have a lifelong relationship, and take responsibility for each other? Now you're going to have scores from 3 to 30 for each of these feelings. Think about what you have, and if that's what you want and need. You may have too much or too little of something. If so, try to work towards your goals and see if you can't make your relationship work. So I encourage you to discover and unmute your love stories. It's well worth it. When you do, you'll unlock your hidden strengths and dreams that will serve as your very own signposts toward a healthy and fulfilled relationship.